And a very happy Tuesday to you at 12:06 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, today the LA City Council had a very special guest, somebody who has not been in these council chambers in many years, former Mayor Eric Garcetti, and yes, he's as phony as ever.
Council President, thank you so much to colleagues. I spent 12 years of my life here in these seats, 6 of them in that chair. I know how heavy the burden of leadership can feel.
Ugh.
Oh, my God.
And how much sometimes this world constricts and feels like it is the weight of an entire city. But I hope today, in a moment of this division and distrust, we can find our dedication to the spirit of Diwali.
The spirit of what?
Diwali. He's there for an Indian celebration because, he was the ambassador to India.
So he's the expert on India they brought in?
Yes. Special guest of Nithya.
This is the best we can do, huh?
I've received things on both ends.
We've just had winner after winner after winner in that office. The last good mayor we've had is Dick Reardon. And ever since then, it's just been slowly being submerged by the water in the ocean.
I mean, by comparison to the current mayor and Garcetti, Villaraigosa wasn't all bad.
No, peanut.
Oh, he's Mayor LaGuardia compared to the other two.
But after what felt like 10 years of Eric Garcetti and 3 years of Karen Bass, it's been a rough time for the city of Los Angeles.
No.
What do you think they have in store for us next? Does Mamdani have a cousin? How much worse could it get, really?
Well, Ulysses could run.
That's true. Well, the current occupant of that seat, Karen Bass, has decided that the only way to save her bacon as she runs for re-election is to paint herself as the biggest partisan in the room. This is why she's attacking Donald Trump at every turn, and why she's now teaming up with the former mayor of Long Beach and current congressman from Long Beach, one of the heaviest partisans in all of the United States House of Representatives, Robert Garcia, because, Randy, they want the federal government investigated because they don't like the fact that illegals are being deported.
Well, they say that ICE has been arresting and detaining U.S. citizens, and that's not allowed.
Which is wild, because let's just say that that's true for a second. Wouldn't it be better if you just allowed them into the jails so they could take the criminal aliens who everyone is verified is here illegally and they could be deported? Because when you send them out into the community to try to find these people, you're going to catch some of the accurate ones and some of them are going to slip through the cracks. There's a real easy way to prevent that from happening if that's what you're concerned about, and that is to allow them into the jails, but that's what they're opposed to.
Can't have that.
Oh, no. And it's funny. I was looking at some stats, and I wish I had them in front of me right now. But you look at the deportations that are going on in red states, it's almost all criminals. Because what they're doing is they're allowing ICE into the jails, into the prisons, into areas where we have people who are criminals in custody, and they're being deported from those institutions. In the blue states, states like California, we won't let them into the jails and the prisons, so they have to catch people out in the community, which means they catch a lot of people who don't necessarily have criminal records. If you're married to a criminal and your partner is a criminal, but you yourself are not, and they come to the house looking for your partner and they find you, guess what happens to you? To the airport you go. That's how it works. So if you want to cut down on that, you let them into the jails and prisons. But Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom and the LA County Board of Supervisors and everyone here in California is opposed to that. And then they complain when some people who are U.S. citizens get caught up in the raids.
Well, I mean, just look at what was going on in San Francisco a few years ago, where Supervisor Matt Dorsey wanted to change the sanctuary city law in San Francisco to exempt Honduran fentanyl dealers. So when they arrest a Honduran fentanyl dealer, they can turn them over to ICE. And that got shouted down, and he was called a racist.
Maybe the answer to all of our problems is to deport Gavin Newsom.
To where?
Wouldn't it be great to just drop him off in the middle of Tasmania with no money and no picture ID? I'm sure he'd be able to figure it out. Although that could be the premise for a slapstick comedy from the 1980s, couldn't it? Now, it is abundantly clear that Los Angeles needs a new mayor. However, you have to have a candidate who can win the election if you want to beat Karen Bass. Unfortunately, we don't have that. We have Austin Butner. Yesterday, we played the sound for you of Karen Bass and her sit down with CBS LA. And today, Randy, it's time to hear from her hapless opponent, Austin Butner.
Let's hear the main challengers so far in the 2026 LA mayor's race. Here is CBS LA.
All right, former LAUSD superintendent and deputy mayor Austin Butner is challenging Mayor Karen Bass in the June 2026 race, arguing the city has spent billions without real results on homelessness, housing, and safety.
I mean, that is true.
All of it is.
In his campaign video, he takes aim at both Bass and President Donald Trump and says,
of course,
because that's what you have to do if you run for office in L.A.
Los Angeles needs to change. And Austin Butner joins me live in studio right now. Austin, thank you so much for coming in this morning.
Pleasure to see you. Thanks for having me.
You know, one of the key accomplishments Mayor Karen Bass often cites is that homelessness is down in this.
Okay, I thought we established through various means that's not true.
Well, we're getting to that, but it still cracks me up every time I hear it, that she's going to run on her record on homelessness.
Who could say that with a straight face?
City of Los Angeles, but just this week we learned that, in fact, a new report says it's not.
Well, RAND, so the internationally renowned think tank based in Santa Monica, took a look at that point-in-time count. And I think,
can someone get this guy a double espresso?
I think he's going to need more than that. He's going to need to take a trip down to Colombia.
Well, I know a guy who knows how to get things down there.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
You don't say.
Allegedly.
took a look at that point-in-time count. And I think we all understand the challenge in a point-in-time count. They told us 8,000 people might have not been counted, which means maybe it's up, not down. They told us that the...
Wait, that's the entire reduction that she was touting.
I like how they act as if it's a rounding error.
They told us that the app the city uses to keep track...
Boy, is he a whistler.
Someone needs to wake him up. You know, like those PSAs they do on television for shaken baby syndrome? Someone needs to grab him by the shoulders and do that.
2026 is going to be the D-dropper versus the whistler.
They told us that the app the city uses to keep track of all this is dysfunctional. And we know from what firefighters tell us, each year under Mayor Bass, there have been increases in the number of calls to help people experiencing homelessness. That's true.
By the way, this shows you how much of a paper tiger Butner is. He could say right now, and it would cut very clear because it's on everyone's mind, that the fire department is being called because the homeless are starting fires. But what does he say? Oh, the fire department's getting called to assist people experiencing homelessness.
You need a little Tabasco in the delivery here. You have a complete failure running for re-election, and this guy is almost apologetic for criticizing her.
This is the guy that went toe-to-toe with Cecily Meyer Cruz and lost every single time.
And I want you to be all the way pissed off.
Yeah, that battle wasn't exactly Fraser Ali.
And we know from what firefighters tell us, each year under Mayor Bass, there have been increases in the number of calls to help people experiencing homelessness. That's truth. That you can't argue with that.
Well,
data.
you know, we've done that investigative piece about the homeless fires rising so dramatically. Do you think the mayor knows that homelessness is not, in fact, down? Or you think that she's just relying on inaccurate data because that count is really more of an estimate?
You need to have to ask her. I think we all...
That's as tough as you're getting on this?
Oh, come on. He might as well be wearing a Washington Generals jersey.
What is the point of this campaign except that he would like to be completely embarrassed in June?
I don't know. I think he's a Karen Bass supporter who fell off a bike and is thinking about his own mortality. And he decided to do this instead of taking up bird watching.
You need to have to ask her. I think we all know it because we see it. It's a humanitarian crisis. 7 people dying on the streets every night.
You know, when Karen Bass first got elected, it was 5.
And now it's 7? And the homeless numbers are still going up?
Yep.
We're obviously what we're doing isn't working. You know, the definition of insanity, just doing the same thing over and over again.
Okay. Take the point that he just made in the most boring possible way. You have to say it in a way that the people can understand it. So just in case your high-priced consultants don't get with the program, here is what you should have said to the person interviewing you in regard to that question. Look at the stats, Mr. Reporter. She's making them faster than she can kill them. That's why the numbers are going up.
You know, the definition of insanity, just doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Cliche.
But let's start with a candid assessment of where we are. Let's just assume it's flat.
Yeah.
Rand tells us maybe it's up, maybe it's down a little bit, but it's tragic, epic in scale. We see it every day. Risk of fires, risk of safety.
So his plan is, we're going to look at the numbers and see what's working.
You know, as he's talking, part of me wants to get on the laptop and find this guy's Chicago White Sox jersey to mail to him.
We don't know how much is being spent and whether it's having an impact.
So you want to close...
Well, we do know how much is being spent, and we know that it's not having an impact.
It's costing a fortune.
Just in the city of L.A., Karen Bass's signature program, Inside Safe, cost us $880 million this year, which translates to, when you look at all the people in the hotels, about $17,000 per person per month.
So you want a closer look at the numbers. You want an audit.
That's the place you start, which is, okay, how much are we spending? What are we supposed to get for it? Are we getting anything for it? Do more of what's working and less of what's not. And there was a report quite recently, the city spent $20 million for a 30-unit hotel 3 years ago.
Yes.
No one has spent a night there. We know that's not working. That's wasting.
Probably yet another crooked developer Saley's going after.
Oh, we're going to fill the prisons up with them.
That's wasting money like that.
You know, so many people are upset about that. Everyone, all Angelenos want to help, but when the money goes...
I would dispute that.
If you know what you're doing isn't working, yet you continue doing it, do you really want to help?
Everyone, all Angelenos want to help.
I think 5 years ago, if you asked all the residents of the city of L.A. if they really want to help the homeless, they'd say yes. I think it's significantly less now, and I think a lot of people in L.A. are sick of these people and want them out.
Yep.
All Angelenos want to help.
You can only have so much sympathy.
And we're all out.
But when the money goes nowhere, there are a lot of concerns. We all thought that, and many people still do believe that Mayor Karen Bass is addressing homelessness.
No.
Are we living in some kind of alternate reality? Between these questions and this guy delivering the answers, we're doomed.
You actually believed it at one point. You supported her. You raised money for her.
That's going to be a tough part of this campaign.
How do you explain that away? When you were given the option between her and Rick Caruso, your judgment led you to her?
Why the sudden change?
I've known her a long time. I supported her. She did a great job in Congress. She was...
I need a example for that one. What did she do in Congress?
Give me a couple of action items here.
She went to Ghana a lot and no one cared because she was in Congress.
Well, and then she went when she was mayor and we were all on fire.
Before the whole Biden VP shortlist thing, nobody knew who Karen Bass was. I remember very distinctly us being on this show, Googling her on the YouTube, and the only thing we could find was this bizarre video of her at the opening of a Scientology center.
Yeah, what the hell was she doing there?
They have a lot of money.
Great job in Congress. She was very effective in the Assembly.
Also, I would need a citation.
What did she do when she was in the Assembly?
Mayor's a different job. Right now, we're facing an affordability crisis. We're facing a crisis of public safety, homelessness, and a crisis of confidence that we can actually start addressing these problems. We're talking about the same problems over and over again. No apparent progress. People see it every day. They see it every day.
And they keep voting the same way.
Including you, dummy.
See it every day, whether they're taking the bus or their car to work. They see the problems aren't getting addressed. It's time we change.
You know, the mayor has really won back some support in the wake of the fires. With
what?
Who looks at her performance during the fires and says, "Yeah, she's been doing a crackerjack job"?
Wait, let's let him finish the question.
That's got to be about ICE.
With her battle against the Trump administration and her efforts to curb these immigration raids.
You called it.
Yep.
How do you think she's done on that front, and what would you possibly do differently?
We have to stand up to bullies. We have to stand up to people who come into our community, the Trump administration, grab our friends and neighbors without justification, law-abiding people.
And again, this guy knows a thing or two about standing up to bullies. After Cecily Meyer Cruz had a talking to him, and he said, sure, keep the schools closed for 2 whole years.
Our babies.
This guy is trying to portray himself as a fighter. He still has Michelin marks all over his body.
Grab our friends and neighbors without justification, law-abiding people, going to work. There's a firefighter who's been on the job 5 years, married, has a family. He's one of our neighbors. He's one of our friends. Mm-hmm. People who are committing crimes, of course.
But actually, that's what we're not doing here, and that's something that you can say we should do, but you're not doing that.
Nope. I haven't heard him say he wants to let him into the jails.
But part of what is happening is because we're not addressing our problems. That's when people like Donald Trump and his administration come into our community and say, well, if you're that rudderless, I'll come in. Well, no, we shouldn't be rudderless. We can address these problems.
But do you have the power? Do you have a different plan to deal with President Trump? Because that is the problem confronting Los Angeles on this issue.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't. But if he did, would it matter? He's going to get run over by anyone he does business with.
There he is. So far, the biggest contender to Karen Bass, Austin Butner.
Austin Butner. They should have named him Lubbock. It's the John Phillips Show. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's show and you want to find out just exactly how Karen Bass performed during her Q&A with CBS LA, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart,
No.
Spotify.
Oh, you're so optimistic.
Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes.
I couldn't agree with you more.
In the meantime, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Well, let's do that right now. 790 KABC welcomes Jagged Edge to the Toyota Arena on November 6th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222 gets a pair of tickets to the show. Tickets furnished by Live Nation. Good luck dialing.
Despite the fact that the electric companies here in California have 1,000,001 problems, including the fact that they keep lighting fires, that doesn't stop them from going to the government and asking for yet another rate increase.
This is something that PG&E successfully was able to lobby the CPUC for 6 times last year. They went in, asked for a rate increase 6 times in 1 year, and got approvals for every single one of them. Now they're doing it again, but they swear you'll be able to handle it. For more, here is ABC 10 in Sacramento.
PG&E is asking for another rate increase. Maybe you got the email this week if you're a PG&E gas and or electric customer. My colleagues and I did, saying now is the time for the public to weigh in. So I checked in.
Yeah, because that totally matters.
You know, these companies never modify their behavior if they know there are no consequences for the bad behavior. And it's not even just that they aren't being punished, they're being rewarded with rate increases.
So I checked in with PG&E and consumer advocates about how much this could affect your bills.
This email landed in PG&E customers' inboxes this week, inviting people to make comments and raise concerns with the California Public Utilities Commission, or CPUC.
Does anybody with a straight face think that the CPUC is actively listening to public comment when they're having a rate hearing?
No, they're thinking, how do we sell this so that the public either doesn't know about it or we give them some answer that seems reasonable, whether it actually is or not, but we have to take care of the utilities.
They're the regulators in charge of approving, amending, or denying the rate increase requests from investor-owned utilities, including PG&E.
And it's made up of appointed people who all used to be executives at PG&E or SoCal Edison or San Diego Gas and Electric.
And many members of the legislature came from that world, too.
Yes, they did.
We want our customers to know this is the smallest percentage increase we've asked for in a decade.
Oh, come on.
We're only gouging you a teeny tiny bit this time.
We're really breaking the trend of double-digit increase requests.
PG&E spokesperson Lindsay Paolo says this so-called general rate case application PG&E submitted to the CPUC in May, now open for public comment, is a cost projection large utilities are required to file every 4 years. This one covers 2027 through 2030.
This is to forecast the costs that we expect to continue making safety and reliability and clean energy upgrades for our customers.
Is this the same utility that has burned down major portions of the state and does power shutoffs all the time that the state's not on fire?
Well, they burned down the entire town of Paradise and they burned the people alive.
Yeah, but Gavin still bailed them out for that.
PG&E is forecasting its revenue requirements will increase 8% from 2026 to 27, followed by 3 yearly increases of 6.1%. The price difference in your monthly bill depends if you're a gas or electric customer or both. Paolo says that first year's increase will be offset by other temporary expenses coming to an end in 2026. She says customers...
So they have all these temporary increases that are going away, so we need to replace them with other temporary increases.
And here's the thing. I know she's saying, well, it's only a single-digit increase. Well, okay, but if you ask for single digits all the time, what does that tell you?
She says customers are expected to see their bills remain flat in 2027 compared to what they're paying this year. As for 2028 through 2030,
I can't forecast out 28, 29, and 30 because we have too many cases that are pending that we don't know what the outcomes will be.
Pending requests for more temporary rate increases to pay for specific projects.
Customers have already had it up to here with.
Yeah, the way that the rules are written with PG&E, if they do any kind of capital improvement, whether that is undergrounding or any kind of public safety, all the money they spend, they can bring back in rate increases because they have guaranteed dividends for their investors.
So wait, so they're asking for these increases, 8%, 8%, 6%, 6%, and then they have other requests for increases already in the pipeline for specific projects too?
Yes.
Customers have already had it up to here with rate increases.
Mark Toney is executive.
I like this guy's voice.
He's got 2 first names.
Customers have already had it up to here with rate increases.
Mark Toney is executive.
Mark Toney. They should have just gone for it and made him Tony. Maybe that's his brother.
Mark Toney is executive director of the Utility Reform Network. He encourages people to not only submit public comment to the CPUC, but
that's not going to do anything.
No, the outcome is predetermined. It's just like with the insurance rate increases. Ricardo Lara already said how he was going to rule on the State Farm request for a rate increase before the hearing even happened.
He encourages people to not only submit public comment to the CPUC, but also express concerns to their state senator and assembly member.
Well, they are bought and paid for by these utilities, so good luck with that.
What's funny is they all run for office on the platform of lowering the cost of living in California, and then they stick the responsibility of approving a rate increase to an unelected board. And then they say, well, we didn't vote to raise the premiums. The CPUC did. But that's by design. So the people who take the slings and arrows can't be punished by the voters. The members of the legislature and the governor set it up that way. They will claim that they had nothing to do with anything if you call their office and scream and yell.
And you remember, even though PG&E only covers the northern half of the state, they were getting a whole lot of help from Chad Mays in the Coachella Valley.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was the one that authored the legislation that gave them the bailout. And then what did he do? He left the legislature and became a lobbyist, and he works for a firm that deals with PG&E.
There are no limits to how much PG&E can ask for a rate increase. There's no limits to how many times a year they can ask.
The problem here, what's broken, is that the regulator isn't stepping in and scrutinizing the spending.
Well, why would they do that? I know California gets a rap for being an incredibly regulated state, but a lot of our regulators, whether it's the Insurance Commission or the CPUC, are completely corrupt.
You see, one of the things that happens, and it's not just happening here in California, it happens all over the globe. Whenever you have a government that's corrupt, is there's only one way for taxes to go. Because the tax money, that's the spoils. And if you share the spoils with your clique, you constantly need more spoils because the clique keeps getting bigger, which means you need to go back to taxpayers over and over and over again to have access to more money. Taxes never go down when there's a lot of theft and corruption. They only go up.
Saying no to increased spending.
Bernadette Del Chiaro is Senior Vice President for California with the Environmental Working Group. She, too, encourages people to make their voices heard to lawmakers and the regulators at the CPUC.
They don't care.
I doubt they even read these emails.
In addition to flat out approving PG&E's general rate case application, the CPUC could ultimately decide to give PG&E a smaller increase than it's asking.
See, that'll make it look like this is a negotiating tactic. If you want a 15% raise, ask for a 20% raise.
And this is what they did with the insurance rate increases, too.
Although that one's great because what happened was State Farm wanted a certain increase, and they realized it wasn't going to look good because they just burned down half of Southern California. So then they say, okay, we want just a smaller increase. And then as soon as that got approved, they want the increase for the rest that they wanted.
Of course, because why not?
The CPUC tells me it takes public comments into consideration as...
No, it doesn't. Nobody's buying that.
I don't even think the spokesman had a straight face when they typed that out.
I don't care whether it's a CPUC hearing, a state insurance hearing, a assembly hearing, a state senate hearing, a city council meeting. Nobody is paying attention to public comment unless you are there to make jokes or to be a gadfly. Nobody's paying attention to a damn thing you are saying.
I forget which member of the LA City Council it was, but somebody told me that when public comment would go on, one of them used to clip their fingernails up there.
The CPUC tells me it takes public comments into consideration as regulators make their decision. The final decision is expected.
When's the last time the CPUC said no to anything PG&E has ever asked for?
I can't even remember.
This is the same regulator, by the way, that because of pressure from SoCal Edison and PG&E decided, you know what, we're going to change the rules and screw over everyone that got rooftop solar in this state because the energy companies say we're not getting those profits.
Great.
Late next year. Now, in addition to submitting written public comment online, there are also 3
That's an even bigger waste of your time. At least you can feel that you vented when you're screaming into a microphone at City Hall. Writing in public comment, nobody's ever going to read that.
No, they have people who have no contact with the voting members who are supposed to go through all the letters, and they just tally them up.
Comment online. There are also 3 opportunities to present your comments at 1 in-person and 2 virtual hearings. We put links to that information at abc10.com/links.
Good luck with that. Nobody is going to ever be strong enough to fight PG&E. Something that I always love to bring up is the city of San Francisco has been trying to get out of PG&E's thumb for 100 years.
How's that working out for them?
They're not any closer than they were 100 years ago.
Let's go to Dan in Linwood. Dan, hello.
Good. I was thinking, give them the rate increase, but make them buy a bunch of the super scooper airplanes to put out the fires that their lines cause. You can buy those for $30 million apiece, which is a bargain. We've talked about it for 25 years. Nobody does it. This idiot governor could have bought 7 instead of this stupid Prop 50. You could have bought 7 of those planes, and think what 7 of those planes would do to stop fires, especially like what we had in Altadena.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Melena writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com on PG&E rate increases. This seems real crazy to me. They have cases pending and can't tell which way they will go, so we, the people, have to pay for their mistakes if they're guilty of wrongdoing. This should be coming out of the management's pocket and investors' dividends, but the investors can hold the management accountable. Very frustrating. PG&E is in a very unique place as a investor-owned utility. Their investors are guaranteed dividends, so that's why the rate increases can keep happening over and over and over again. They can't lose.
They get nothing but green lights.
Yep.
All right. There is a new public campaign that is coming to the city of Oakland.
It's called Don't Trash the Town.
Well, they should have told that to the former mayor.
Shangy, how you feeling about that new slogan?
That's right. I like that. That was amazing.
For more, here's Cron 4.
Don't trash the town.
Oh, I got to save that. That's going in the folder.
Don't trash the town.
Talk about falling on deaf ears.
That's the basic message from Oakland City leaders. They're sending that as they try to step up their fight against illegal dumping, and they're doing it by adding more weekend crews to clean up neighborhoods faster.
Yeah, you could use that. Cron 4's Michael Thomas joins us now live in studio with details. Michael?
Hi, everyone. This has really been an issue for the city of Dumpy. Excuse me.
The city of Dumpy?
Oh, my.
That might be the greatest Freudian slip that I have ever heard in local news.
Hi, everyone. This has really been an issue for the city of Dumpy. Excuse me. Illegal dumping has been...
You know what was in the thought bubble.
Hi, everyone. This has really been an issue for the city of Dumpy. Excuse me. Illegal dumping has been a longtime problem for the city of Oakland.
Also known as the city of Dumpy. I'm sorry, Oaklanders. You've got a new name, and it's the city of Dumpy. Let me just make sure I mark that because I'm going to have to save that.
City leaders say more hands on deck are essentially going to help crews respond faster and cover more neighborhoods, and they're able to do it without raising taxes. Now, the city says this move is being funded through existing public works dollars thanks to vacant positions.
And you remember when we did the story of why is it so difficult to pick up this trash to begin with? It's because Justin Johnson, the city administrator, has to personally approve every single trash pickup, which is why you have council members like Noel Gallo using his own personal staffers to do nothing but pick up trash every single day. And every single day they pick it up, there's even more.
Well, what's funny is when you call them and complain about all the trash that's being dumped everywhere, they say they don't have the funds to go pick it up.
Or they'll just say your 301 request has already been completed, and it's not.
That's right. But the money that should be spent to clean up Oakland is being sent to a public affairs firm to come up with ads telling people not to dump their trash around the city.
Keep Dumpy clean.
So no extra cost to taxpayers. It's part of the Keep the Town Clean initiative set to launch this fall and run through spring. The plan includes block.
It's going to be so great when you see billboards and bus benches in front of a whole bunch of trash that say don't trash the town.
Yeah, that's why Kamala Harris couldn't go to the border and Joe Biden couldn't go to the border, because they didn't want people climbing over the border in the same frame as them. Can you imagine if you're a member of the council or the mayor and you want to brag about this campaign telling people to not dump their trash in Oakland, and there's a big billboard with a great big pile of trash sitting right next to it?
And
you can't have your photograph taken there.
And run through spring. The plan includes block party cleanups in all 7 council districts, plus month.
Didn't that sound fun? We're all going to get together and pick up the trash that the city won't pick up.
Hard pass.
Plus monthly business corridor cleanups. Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee says this is just the beginning, and local cleanup advocates say calling for more support over the years has been what they've wanted, and today's announcement gives them a sense of hope of what's to come.
How about East Oakland Dad, the guy who has been posting for months and months and months and months about the path where he's walking his kid to school? He cannot use the sidewalk because it's full of garbage.
Nope. The safest place for them to be is in the middle of the street.
Important for me to do this because I really, at the end of the day, want to show people like it is a problem, but something can be done about it, and something is being done about it.
Remember that volunteer that started the organization that he was just going to pick up the trash on his own, and he gave up after 2 years because he knew the city was just not doing anything?
Oh, he's a completely defeated man.
That's the latest on Dumpy.